Yes.
Well, Maura. Hey, Patrick. Your man there. Patrick, will you look at, have you the key? Where's the key? Where's the key is here? We call it now. We call it now. All right.
Good afternoon, everybody. You're all very welcome here this lovely afternoon, and we're honoured to have Eamon Kelly here with us on this afternoon on this very, very special occasion. Patrick Sheehan, John B and Jimmy. Patrick is going to hand over the keys of this building, which the committee are after purchasing, and we're going to, when I say, do a very, very, very nice job on it, we hope anyway, with the help of all the community and all the people around it. So I'll hand you over to Jimmy to introduce Eamon and Patrick and John B.
Good girl. Right. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I think we should feel very honoured that not alone have we Eamon Kelly here today with us, but also with his wife Maura, who was a great actress in her time. She's over there. Maura O'Sullivan from the Stole, and also the great John B Keane. I think we have two of Ireland's treasures with us here today. I won't repeat. And John B told me that there was another donkey over there too. Anyway, today is a very special occasion for Finuge because the thatched house behind me here is a landmark in Finuge. We think it's there for about 300 years, but it's certainly there for generations. And the Sheehans occupied it, I would say, during all of that time, the Sheehan family. And Patrick, as the direct descendant of the Sheehans, and also the man now that owns the building, decided that he would prefer to give it over to the community rather than maybe somebody else owning it. And we've set up a group of trustees that are now buying the house off of Patrick for a very small amount of money. He has made a very generous donation, more or less, of the building to the community. And as Anne-Marie said, we're going to restore it, and we're going to ensure that it will be there for future generations. We are just custodians of this house for future generations. It will be a rambling house, it will be a tourist attraction, and also we are going to build some craft units out the back and a little cafe and a craft shop. And we will cobble the yard, and I think we will have a beautiful project. Now, coming back to Eamon Kelly, Eamon, this is his third visit to Finuge, and he's been very supportive of the Sean McCarthy Memorial Weekend. And also he's been very supportive of the Kerry Literary and Cultural Centre in Listowel. Anytime we asked him to perform, whether it was in Cork or Dublin or anywhere else, he always turned up. And he was always there, always and sober, and always turned up free of charge as well, in all fairness, which is very important. So, as Brian McMahon used to say, he often referred to Eamon Kelly as a national treasure, and he is a national treasure. So I'll hand you over now to Eamon Kelly, I suppose, the king of all Shanakees.
It's tushke duck, not skill, they say. I take this because I get a kick on in my throat. It gives me enormous pleasure to perform this little act today because we all love the thatched house. All belonging to us, going way back, came out of the thatched house. My father was born in one, my grandfather and my great-grandfather lived in one. And the thatched house was so natural, it fitted in so beautifully into the countryside. There is no building that is being designed today will fit into the countryside as nice as the thatched house. And it was always built in a sort of a hollow, never up on a hill because the storm wouldn't come to blow away the thatch. And as one man said to me, it was warm in the winter and cool in the summer. It was so comfortable. A man said to me it was like a wren's nest. And like the wren's nest, it was part and parcel of its surroundings. You know, there was nothing more beautiful to see than when it had got a new coat of thatch. The golden roof, the whitewashed walls, the whitewashed chimney, and the window sashes done in white lead, and the red in the frame and the red in the door like it's there now. It was a beautiful sight to see. And then there was the half door. You see, because the windows were so small in the old thatched houses, they had to open the door always in front to let the light into the kitchen. And then the half door had to be provided to keep out the small animals and to keep out the hens. And the furniture in the house was every bit part and parcel of the house itself. You had the sugan chairs, and they were made from the ash that was cut in the locality. And you had the sugan seat made from sugan straw, sugan hair rope. And then you had the big table, and in some of the houses there used to be a settle. You'd be seated by day and a bed by night. And there was the dresser with the shining delft. And we used to have a clevy in our part of the country. And in the old days, going back to the last century, they used to have another article of furniture inside the house, inside the thatched house, and that was the coop. And the coop was for keeping the hens, because the old landlord, the more outhouses you had, the more they charged rent for you, so that animals were brought into the house. And this coop was made by the carpenter, and the dresser and the settle and the coop, they were manifestations of the craftsmanship of the country carpenter. They were absolutely beautiful. And the hens were put in at the bottom of the coop and put in at the top, and there were little doors with slats in them. And the hens used, at night time when they'd be all inside, they'd put their heads out between the slats, and you'd think they were carrying on a conversation with the inmates of the house until the light was put out. And the cock was up on top of the coop, or sometimes up on top of the coop, or sometimes he'd perch up on the rafters. And he'd crow at crack of dawn in the morning, so there was no need for an alarm clock. Now, those thatched houses, the black rafters which we saw inside, they echoed and re-echoed to many various sounds while the people lived there. The consecration bell, when the station mass had been said, they re-echoed that night to the music of the fiddle and the melodeon, when there would be a dance in the house, when there would be weddings in the house, when there would be a wake. I remember myself being at a wake in a thatched house. I was in short pants at the time, and not very well up. And when the clay pipes were going around, I took one of the clay pipes and a fellow lit it for me. And because I wasn't used to the clay pipe, you know, I was swallowing it, more of it than I was puffing out. And then the tray went around, there were glasses of whiskey in it, and I took one of them and took a big gulp of it, and it went down. Well, it nearly burned me going down. And then with the fumes of the alcohol coming up from my bread basket, you know, meeting the fumes of the tobacco going up into my brain, I got awful dizzy. I was glad to fall over, and the floor went around, and the black rafters went around, and the sugan chairs went around, and the table with the corpses went around, everything went around, and I was getting very white, and I was about to faint, and a neighbour of mine said, "Why don't you go to the fresh air?" And I said, "I will when the door comes round again." But the centre of the house, the heart, which was the heart of the house. That was what the people congregated at night and sat down and talked with before there was any radio or any television. And the neighbours came in, if it was a rambling house, and they discussed politics and the news of the day, and there was a debating, and there were songs, and there were stories being told. A man said to me that some of those houses, it was like a cross between Dal Éireann and the Cork Opera House. you had some of both sides of it. But the fire itself, I'll have to talk to you about the fire itself. the fire never went out. From one end of the year to the other, and in some places from one century to another, the fire never went out. At night time, we used to say at home, did you kindle the fire, the last one going to bed? They always said kindle is to light the fire, but they always used kindle to the effect. Did you kindle the fire? And that was that you get the live coals and rake the ashes over the live coals. And then when you get up in the morning, you rake back the ashes and the live coals were there still alive, and you made them into a little corn, into a little pyramid, and you put the quirons around the live coals and then the sods, and in no time at all the fire was blazing up to boil the kettle. And the last thing at night that they used to do in the old days was to wash their feet. And there was a big ceremony at night in the houses of washing the feet, because let me tell you, people didn't go around wearing shoes at all in the last century. And there were muddy yards and everything, and there was a big tub of water, and the feet were washed in front of the fire. And the ritual was that the youngest male child would wash his feet first, and then all the others. And in a house where a farmer had all daughters, he took the cock off the coob and washed the cock's feet. Wasn't that a nice piece of paganism? But the seed, I have to tell you about George Fitzmaurice. I knew him briefly, and we used to have a drink in a place called Mooney's up at McDade's in Duke Street. But he said to me that the feet water, after all the feet were washed in it, it was never thrown out at night in Dua. They never threw out the feet water at night. And I said to him, why? He said, because in case that they would throw it into the faces of the fairies who were passing. And the good people passing at night, that wouldn't be very nice of you to give them the kind of feet water at them. So the seed, the coal, the live coal that I talked about you, that was the seed. And it never died out in the houses. It never died out in the houses from 1 year to there were some houses that were not for 200 and 300 and 400 years. The same fire that was first lit was the same fire that was still there. And that is what I hope to happen now, that the seed of the blazing fire that we have inside will never go out, and that this house will be there and will be a pleasure for the community. And it gives me great pleasure now to accept the key from Patrick Sheehan. From Patrick Sheehan. In the olden days, of course, the thatched house was never locked. Our house at home the key was never turned on the door. And have we finished with this now? So I hope that the community, you're not.
Anna Marie.
Anna Marie, what call Anna Marie? Anna Marie, sure.
Anna Marie,
sure,
no.
Anna Marie, Dame Turton, Ockard and the tea that I got commanded. And I hope that the people of Finuge, that they will derive tremendous pleasure from this house, and it is a tremendous thing to give it to them.
Yeah. Now, ladies and gentlemen, John B Keane is just going to say a few words now to you.
With the accent on few.
Yeah.
It struck me there while Eamon was talking that he was looking at me a lot. You know, not looking for approbation or confirmation, but it dawned on me then that it was an old Irish phrase, covers it all, a henning Kiro. And of course you can tell what meaning you like for that. But in this case I hope it's a high compliment. But talking about thatch, I was born in Church Street in the store, and the top of Church Street that time was thatched. A lot of it was thatched. And then of course there was that greatest of all monstrosities up there as well, a two-storied thatched house. Now that was the height of magnificence. And people used to come a long ways to see it, and they spoke about it. It isn't there now, it's gone. But the top of the street was and it was a common practice in with blackguards going home at night during the butter market, which was also there in the early part of the century, which has gone on, which made Church Street actually. Church Street wealth, which was dissipated when I was a young friend, unfortunately, was made out of the butter market. And that's all gone on. But here we have in front of us the descendant of Sheehans. We won't call him the last of the Sheehans. But I always found him a most hospitable gentleman, and I always received a great welcome from him when I arrived in Finuge. Yeah. And all the Sheehans the same, I would have to say that, most courteous people. And you made our job very easy for us when we came out. to beat Finuge in the annual football match. And having said that, there's no more for me. Eamon Kelly has said it all. And anyway, Eamon Kelly is an impossible act to follow, as many skillful orators have found out at his cost. So I want to just reaffirm what he has said and to thank Patrick Sheehan for his generosity and to thank Eamon for coming down. He never let us down in Finuge in the store or anywhere. He's always available. And I don't think I ever met a man quite like him, because every time I look at him, I have to smile. That's all.
Thanks very much. Just before I ask Father Moore now to bless the house, and I would like to welcome here the Bogadeers today. This is the group that has been set up locally by Father Moore and others, and they've taken the place by storm.
Where's the Sloan?
And they're there, some of them are here, a talented group of people, and they're going to perform afterwards for us. But Father Moore is going to bless the house, and then Maureen Beasley, who's the, I suppose, the Peg Sayers of Finuge, would like just to say a few words, and she is our local poet. We'll have to give her that privilege when Father Moore will bless the premises first. Right, Father Moore?
Can I just say that there are three great women behind these three men, and if ever there's Mary, Maura and Mary, so if you're a man and a woman, it has to be Mary.
I thought I had a chance.
Can I just say, may all who come to this house find generosity, tranquility and happiness, and may they depart from here enriched by the joys of Christian living. And as St. Patrick said, Banim, Shir, Galer, Shiv, I bless everything wished to me. So here we are, Father, Son, and Spirit, Amen. And that's the man that needed it most. And we're going to say a rosary, all 15 decades of it. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. And glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, amen.
Just before Maureen speaks, there is a guest here from America too. She came all the way from here. She's one of the Sheehans. She's a descendant of the Sheehans that own this house.
The last one.
The last one, yeah. So anyway, it's great that she's here this morning. Thank you very much.
Can we get a picture before you break up?
Right. Right, yeah. Maureen, so you can just address the audience there now.
Cared me the 42 each and every one of you. I want to congratulate Sean McCarthy. I was the first one that brought Sean to Killicrin. We were back in the school rehearsing the Rambling House, and Val Connor was with him. They brought him back. We sat into the car and we came down. I said, we'll go now to Finuge. I was the first one that brought him. Anyway, not a big deal now.